All right, everybody, welcome into another episode of the College Court Report podcast. Two-man show again this week. Myself, Tyler Bennett, joined with Ryan Scarfone. Ryan, how are you, bud?
I'm doing well. It's snowy up here in the Great White North, but we're inside. It's warm. We're Charles in charge. We're loud in charge. Let's get on with it.
Yeah, I'm in the mountains still, and we have no snow. And this week, Texas got snow. Louisiana got snow. The whole coast got snow. And I have, in a spot where you think we'd have snow, in the Great Rocky Mountains of Canada, there is nothing on the ground. This is ridiculous.
Wasn't the Canadian Football League Championship, like the Grey Cup, wasn't that in Calgary this year? No, that was in Ottawa.
That was in Ottawa.
No, but there was a semifinal in Calgary, and it was snowy. Where'd the snow all go? Did it melt? Obviously,
that was a silly question, wasn't it?
But what I don't get is I'm more south than you are. Texas is obviously more south than what you are. So why are we getting snow and you're not? I'm pissed.
Welcome to global warming.
Is it real?
Clearly. It's the 12th of December and we have no snow in the mountains. But Buffalo can get absolutely shat on.
That was interesting to watch. Did you see when they were trying to kick the field goal, they had to, or the extra point, they were just trying to get all the snow out from where they were going to kick it, and
the team effort to kick all the snow out of the way, make a little pathway.
Then they had to subsequently get all the ice off their cleats and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been fun to play in though.
It'll be cold though, but that would be fun. It'd be fun to do for a quarter, and then after that, I'd hate my life for 3.
They probably had to chop their legs off after that. In all honesty, especially kickers, when they're wearing such thin cleats.
Yeah,
and that their socks are probably
soaked,
wet. Yeah,
you take a warm bath. You don't take the ice bath after the game. You don't need the ice bath.
I wouldn't take an ice bath. Screw that. That's the ice bath.
That's what I mean. You can probably just undress, shower, and go home and say, "I'm done. Cool." But interesting week.
They were big ballers.
Don't even get me started. Interesting week in college basketball. You mentioned the big ballers. The big baller brand is headed to Lithuania with LaMelo and LiAngelo signing with a low-level Lithuanian club in a 1,500-seat gym. $4,000 contract maximum for 6 months. This is going to go well. And
hey, it's not about the money.
Full disclaimer, I didn't want to talk about the Ball family, but Ryan thought, hey, it's big news, let's bring it up, and he knows how much I dislike the family, so here we are. I lost out. So I'll try and contain my excitement of this conversation.
Well, they don't get enough press as it is, so...
Never. Who are they? I'm not even quite sure who they are.
I don't know. Do they have 3 sons? I don't even know. But
are they all theirs? Are they all their legitimate sons? Who knows?
Is there a 4th? I have no idea. There could be a cousin called LaMelo Ball.
Isn't there Lil Dicky? They make him his honorary son?
Probably. I don't know.
Yeah.
See, you know more about the Balls than I do. Yet you don't want to talk about them.
Because it's all over ESPN. It's all over the news. It's all there is. It's what happens when you don't go to school anymore, Ryan. You have time to read all this nonsense.
Hey, big ballers do big things.
A $4,000 contract in Lithuania at a low-level team in a 1,500-seat gym is not big things.
You know, it'd be awesome if that whole professional team everyone got fresh new kicks by Big Baller Brand. What are they called? The Z02s?
LeVar's going to have that coach out of a job by February.
Oh, probably.
Good luck pulling your kids out of a professional contract in Lithuania when coach won't let your youngest son shoot 50 times a game. But their coach doesn't even speak English. Okay? So tell me how that's going to go. And I don't even know what to say.
LaMelo's a professional at 16, and what are we doing?
Talking about him being a professional at 16.
I'm interested to see how, like, I guarantee you viewership for Lithuanian basketball will
Still
be
be shit.
skyrocketing.
It'll still be shit.
No, it'll be skyrocketing. Big ballers.
They'll sell out their first game. Realize
They'll
he
realize
can't hold his own in professional basketball, being 16 years old. The media's circus will last maybe a month, and then LeVar will say something stupid, and then maybe he'll get thrown in jail in Lithuania, and then Trump will have to come in and get him out of jail like they had to do his sons in China. Wouldn't that just be the full circle coming of the ages story?
that would be hilarious. I'd pay to see that. Well, like LaMelo is 6'2". I mean, LiAngelo has good size, but LaMelo, he's only 6'2". He's 160 pounds. He's gonna get thrown around by those Lithuanian.
And I don't care what level of pro basketball it is. It's pro basketball. He's playing against men. He's not in high school at Chino Hills anymore. He's not going to be able to just jack up shots from wherever he wants. He's not going to be able to pull up at half court, point at half court, and shoot. It's a man's game now, and he's got talent. I mean, being a top 10 or 5-star recruit coming out of high school, but at the same time, it's a completely different game. I don't care what level you play at. And he doesn't have the size to battle with men inside.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I was just saying to my dad, I was like, wouldn't it be funny if he, came and played for Canadian Professional Basketball League, the NBL of Canada?
They probably don't even know where Canada is.
No, probably not.
No.
But, like, can you imagine, like, a guy like LaMelo going up against, like, Royce White?
Royce would give him a clothesline and get kicked out again.
That's what I mean.
That'd be hilarious.
But you'd pay to see that.
Could you imagine LeVar Ball coming to Canada to watch an NBL Canada game, just strutting the sidelines in Budweiser Gardens in London, Ontario, in front of 4,000 people? They get more people at these games than they do in Lithuania. Probably get paid more too. He probably should have came to Canada.
And I didn't even. Well, that's what I was saying. Like, after I didn't know how much they were getting paid, and then after when you said, "Yeah, $4,000 max,"
yeah,
that's insane.
There was this.
I make more in my summer job.
There was a tweet that was put out by this guy named David Pick last night. It says LiAngelo LaMelo signed 6-month deal on low-level Lithuania team with coach and GM that speak zero English. Club is months behind on checks, and I'm told Ball brothers can peak at $4,000 total max. Might not even get the money. Then he spelled culture wrong, but that's beside the point. Culture shock. And then Ben Brust, who played at Wisconsin, played for this club for a year out of college and said he hated it. So he wouldn't even be surprised if the balls wouldn't even go at all. So that just tells you about the situation they're getting themselves into and how interesting it's going to be.
But I asked you this. I think I asked you this last week, or I know I asked you this a couple times maybe. But do you think this is going to be the new trend where good, like, blue chip? And I'm not calling LiAngelo a blue chip, and I'm not calling LaMelo a blue chip recruit, given that he's only, 16, 17?
He's grade 11, right? So,
but he owns a Lamborghini and I don't. So, anyways, beside the point, are we going to see blue chip prospects, the ones that legitimately have a shot at the NBA to be a good player in the NBA? Are we going to see them, instead of go the NCAA route, are they going to go the professional basketball route in, let's say, a Canada, a Europe? Do you see that happening so that they avoid the NCAA, so that they don't have to spend a pointless year doing schoolwork or not going to class? They can make a little money out of it.
It'll be few and far between. Like, it's rare to see it happen with Terrence Ferguson, who was committed to Arizona and then went overseas and played. And Emmanuel Mudiay did the same thing from SMU, went over and played pro. You'll get the odd guy that'll do it, but I don't think the trend will be, like everybody's going to go over there. You're going to get 10 guys out of the top 100 every year that are going to go. You're going to get a few guys here and there, but do I call it a trend? No. like one guy every other year or every 3 years isn't gonna make much of a wave in terms of other top guys going over to play, because guys want to play for schools like Kentucky and Duke and North Carolina and the blue blood programs that have big time coaches who have a track record of getting guys to the NBA. They're not going to want to take a chance on going to play for a Lithuanian team, for example, or come to Canada even and not and play for a team that doesn't have a track record of getting guys to the NBA, because that's the end goal for a lot of these guys, especially top prospects and like LaMelo, who wants to go to the NBA. Obviously, he's got the pedigree to do it eventually. No, I don't think you're going to see many guys at all. I think this is just.
Yeah, but
Go ahead.
I could see them making the argument that like a guy like Coach Calipari, does he really like is he the one that really sends guys to the NBA, or would these guys go to the NBA regardless of wherever they played? Like they just stay for a year, try to learn the system for a good 6 months, and then they bounce. So like, is it really Calipari that's getting them to the NBA? They could probably go still to the NBA if they went to a Canisius. It doesn't really matter who the coach is. I think they could still get there.
Staying in the NCAA, I think it's a combination of a lot of different things, but I think the NCAA gets a lot of that exposure that you need to get to the NBA, and it's easily accessible to watch college games versus trying to watch low-level professional games from overseas. And obviously you're going to find ways to make it happen. But at the same time, I think you could argue that the competition in NCAA is better than some of these low-level pro leagues, and you could kind of get a better sample of what they can bring to the table. And I mean, yeah, it's not pro basketball, but at the same time, you play more consistent competition on a regular basis, I think. And I think it's the exposure in the NCAA will be better than playing in a 1,500-seat Lithuanian gym.
Yeah. I mean, regardless of the flaws of the NBA, you know, all the controversy, the lack of payment to the players, I still think it's a proven product. It's obviously gotten a lot of guys to where they are today. I mean, the coverage that these guys get, the treatment that these guys get, I don't really know what it's like in the professional ranks overseas. But I can guarantee you that schools here make a lot more money than they do over there. They probably give them a lot more. So maybe tough it out for a semester or two to do your schoolwork, or be a Ben Simmons and don't go to class because you know that, you know, you're not going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to be there for for very long. So I could agree that I could see, like, you know, the token prospect goes overseas. I kind of knew that LiAngelo and LaMelo would eventually find their way in the professional ranks before pursuing the NBA. But I think the NCAA is proven, and you know, I'm selfish because I want these players to continue to go to the NCAA so that, you know, we watch good college basketball, and you never know, these blue chip recruits might even stay for more than 1 year, like Miles Bridges, or I could see a lot of people in Michigan State or even people on Duke or Kentucky staying for more than this year.
Yeah, I got to know. It'll be interesting to see how the Ball situation plays out, and I'm just happy that 2 of the 3 will be out of America, and hopefully LeVar goes with them, and Lonzo can flourish with the Lakers, and we can stop talking about the Ball family because it hurts my head.
But it's funny, like Magic Johnson is probably just like he bit off more than he could chew. I mean, like, yeah, you know, it's good that he got a good player in Lonzo, and I mean, like, regardless of all the, you know, struggles that he's had with his shot, like Lonzo, he'll be okay. He'll be a good player, but you know, I feel like his dad is expecting Magic Johnson to eventually take on LiAngelo and LaMelo, and he's probably like, damn, what did I get myself into? You know what I mean? It's kind of like with UCLA. Now that UCLA is happy, they hired their new football coach for the future. They got rid of the balls. They're laughing. They're having fun.
I mean, you can't fault Magic. You can't pass up a guy like Lonzo, and you kind of take the baggage as it comes. And yeah, he'll work out his kinks with his shot, and his shot's unconventional, and he needs to work on his free throws. I mean, last time I saw he was at 50%, which is cringeworthy. But you got to take on the good with the bad, and everybody's got their baggage they come with, and you've got to think that LeVar's going to go with LiAngelo and LaMelo to Lithuania and get them settled and have spats with that coach there, and it'll work out for the Lakers. It'll work out for them in the long run and get them a bit of a sigh of relief, I guess, for both the Lakers and Lonzo. But I'm just going to end it on that because I don't want to talk about their family anymore.
Salty.
It just
that was a good 15-minute conversation about the Bulls.
I wouldn't say it was good, but it was 15 minutes of cringe-worthy LeVar Ball talk.
That's what big ballers do.
I'm going to throw one more point out. I hate how the fact that every conversation with the Ball family has to resort back to LeVar, and you don't even know you're doing it till afterwards. So that's just how the media has portrayed that family. They always focus on LeVar first, and no matter when you're talking with the kids, Lonzo could do something great in a game. He could go for another triple-double, and you're still going to somehow go back to talking about LeVar in the same sentence, in the same breath, and you might not even know you're doing it till afterwards, but that's because all the media talks about is LeVar did this, LeVar did that, and it's sickening. These kids are trying to make a career out of it, and he's just sitting over here laughing and loving life, and
he's a freeloader,
stealing the attention. He's
basking in their glory because he never really achieved glory himself.
Living through his kids.
Yeah, that's basically what he's doing, and he's profiting off them because he's taking advantage of a market that includes a lot of millennials that eat all the stuff that he says, and that's why the media covers him, because it's clickbait. It's stuff that will draw people in, people will retweet. LeVar doesn't, obviously he's not stupid enough to believe that, his son can beat LeBron James right now. He's not stupid like that. He's saying that because he knows that people like Stephen A. Smith or Bleacher Report, they're going to write stories or give him coverage because he said that. And then that will subsequently attract like millennials to retweet it, be like, oh, this guy's so sick and I can't wait to see his antics. And he's on the WWE. He's a good marketer. And he's taking advantage.
He's a clown.
He's
an absolute clown.
He's a clown, but he's a smart clown because he's taking advantage of.
He's an idiot. He's an absolute idiot.
Taking advantage of the market. That's basically what the market is.
LeVar Ball and smart should not be in the same sentence.
Do you know the new Big Baller brand pop-up store in New York had like a line that went on forever, waiting to get in? Like that's smart business.
It's sickening, is what it is.
It's sickening, but it's smart business.
No, there's a part of him that'll believe that he can beat Michael Jordan one-on-one. There's a part of him that'll believe that his son can beat LeBron James right now one-on-one. He wouldn't have said it if he didn't have some inkling that he thought it was true.
He's just reeling us in. He doesn't believe it.
He ain't real me in anywhere.
He's a reality he's a reality TV show producer's dream. Sooner or later, there's going to be something.
He'll be on Dancing with the Stars.
He'll be on. Yeah, he'll be on.
Their first round.
Their family is going to have a show that goes beyond Facebook. It's going to be on national TV. It's going to be like Keeping Up with the Kardashians. It's literally, mark my words, it's going to happen.
I don't even know what to say. I don't even know. That family's something else. But anyways, on a much more positive note, top 25 rankings came out yesterday. Arizona State is at number 5. Received 5 first-place votes, and people were saying they could be the top team in the country based on their resume, and you could definitely make the case with wins over San Diego State, Kansas State, Xavier, St. John's, and Kansas. Beat Xavier and Kansas, both by double digits as ranked teams. The big question is Arizona State legit? I mean, they're 9 games in. They are 9-0. Um, what are your thoughts there, Ryan? Do you think Arizona State's legit? Do you think the Sun Devils are peaking a little early, or what do you think?
So like, have we gone through about 25% of the schedule this year?
Yeah, the max games the teams can play is 40. That's if they win. That's if they go to the national title. So you could make the case that Arizona State won't make it that far. So yeah, they've played 25%.
Well, I think they're legit in terms of like they're a good team. They're going to be a team to contend with in the like a force to be reckoned with in the NCAA tournament. They have a really good chance of winning the Pac-12 title. Now, in terms of the number one or like a top two, top three, not sure yet. I wanna see them against some um, other big competition. I mean, Kansas was coming off a loss to who did they lose to the first time? This is their
Washington.
second loss. Washington. So you know, Bill Self said they're kind of soft this year, so they were coming off a demoralizing loss, so they could have been down on themselves, and the Arizona State took advantage of that. So it was not to say it wasn't a good win. I'm just saying I want to see them against some more top 10 competition. I mean, Xavier's good, Kansas State's good, San Diego State's good. Um, I don't. They're like I said, they're a good team,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that they will win the Pac-12. They have a good shot, but I want to see a little bit more of them. But I'm excited to keep watching them. They're a fun team to watch, and I'm glad other teams other than UCLA, Oregon are
Arizona.
Arizona obviously are becoming better. Arizona State was always in the shadows of Arizona. Now that's changing, and I love it. So they got a big game against Vandy coming up
Mm-hmm.
on the 17th. So I'll definitely be watching that. And then conference play starts up.
Yeah, they've got December 30th. I think is when their first or their next real test will come when they take on Arizona, and a little bit of a bragging rights game in state. But they've kind of, I wouldn't say that Kansas was coming off a demoralizing loss against Washington. I mean, they did play Arizona State at home, like it was inside the fog in Kansas. So for Arizona State to go in and win the way they did by 10, playing small ball with the talented guards they have, Trey Holder, and Evans and um, Cody Justice, the team itself is quite talented, and obviously being the fifth ranked team in the country, it's a little early, I think, to say they're going to win the Pac-12. I think Arizona still rounding into form, saying I think they're still the team to beat. And until the Sun Devils beat the Wildcats, I don't think you can safely make the claim that Arizona State will win the Pac-12. I mean, they've burst onto the scene, they've got all the momentum in the world, but um, are they legit? I'll say yes. I mean, I'll agree with you there that they're legit, but it'll be interesting to see if they can sustain their momentum going forward and pass their next few challenges and get into the new year. They could very well be undefeated by 2018 rolls around and knock off Arizona to start conference play. But it's definitely one of the better stories to start the season and a big bright spot for the whole Pac-12.
Yeah, I was just I didn't say that they're gonna win. I was saying like they're gonna be definitely a contender.
We'll listen
It's
back afterwards. I'm pretty sure you
We'll
said
listen back.
Arizona
I
State and win Pac-12 in the same sentence.
I said they could win. You can make the argument that they have a good shot of winning. I'm not gonna say right here. Mark my words.
Don't backpedal too much.
In March, you're gonna see them winning. Um, that's just like me saying Duke is 100% going to win the ACC title. They have a good chance. Can make the case that they're going to win, but you never know who's going to come out victorious. Stranger things have happened.
Look at you, backpedaling now. I think regardless, it'll be an interesting race, and I mean, there's a few question marks in the Pac-12, but I think definitely Arizona State has played their way into a top 3 finish if they can sustain momentum. But as we all know, anything can happen in college basketball, and uh, you just kind of cross your fingers and hope for the best, and as a fan, and you never know what's going to come. But Villanova moved up to number 1, jumping Michigan State, who's now 2. Wichita State's 3, Duke's 4, and then Arizona State's 5. Do you agree with Villanova being number 1, or would you have someone else at number 1?
I was texting you this. I don't put people at number 1 just because they're undefeated.
Mm-hmm.
Just like in college football, I don't put people in the playoff just because they're undefeated. I look at their track record. So I'm looking at Michigan State, and yes, they did lose, but they lost to number 1 Duke, who they also lost this week to Boston College. But not everyone's going to be undefeated in college basketball. I mean, Kentucky from a few years ago, that was, the exception. They were stupid good.
Mm-hmm.
They eventually lost. But I think Michigan State has a better track record. They kicked North Carolina's ass, kicked Notre Dame's ass. Good win against Nebraska. Only lost to Duke by a little bit. So I think they look, and just like the eye test, they just look like the number 1 team, the way they rebound, their offensive production, their defense. When I look at Villanova, not to say that they're not a good team, they have wins against Gonzaga. They won the Bad Boy Mowers Battle for Atlantis tournament.
Yeah.
They knocked off Northern Iowa. After almost losing to Tennessee. See, that's where I struggle with, because they didn't really look that good against Tennessee. Now they did come back and they showed why they were a good team, but I'm not really set on Villanova being number 1, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I think if you look at collective bodies of work, I think you can make the case that Michigan State has the better resume with wins over Connecticut, UNC, like you said, Notre Dame, DePaul. Their only loss coming to Duke by 7, and all of their wins have been by double digits by at least 10 points, and they are starting to round into form and look like the team that everybody thought they would be. Villanova's coming off a 19-point win over Gonzaga, so that's impressive. Gonzaga was ranked 12 at the time, and wins over Tennessee, Northern Iowa, LaSalle. They've got Temple tomorrow. I think Villanova's been underwhelming at times, especially in the battle for Atlantis. They had a close game against Western Kentucky, a close game against Tennessee, close game against Northern Iowa. That I think that tournament could have been a lot stronger if it wasn't for Purdue and Arizona both losing in the first round. I think Villanova's resume is hindered by that, but at the same time, I mean, they are 10-0 and undefeated, and you got to put a certain precedent on the record. I mean, they've passed every test they've been given. They can't plan their schedule in a tournament like that, so you kind of got to roll with the punches. And Jalen Brunson and Michael Bridges, and they have a talented team, and they haven't done anything to say that they aren't deserving of number 1. I think it's just a sheer matter of opinion, like rankings always are, and you're never going to please everybody with a ranking system. And personally, just based on resume, I would put Michigan State at number 1. I think it would have been close, like kind of like a 50-50 split almost on first place votes. The fact that Villanova got 41 this week's a little bit interesting in my book, so I thought more would go for the Spartans, but I don't know. Being a Spartans fan, obviously I'm going to hold my team a little bit higher in higher regard than others. So, but I think they haven't. Number 2 is not bad by any means, but I think just based on how they've bounced back from their loss against Duke and double-digit wins, 8 straight, and I think they've made the case to be number 1. But we'll see how the week unfolds, and if it's anything like last week, another 5 teams in the top 10 will lose, and hopefully one of those is Villanova and one's not Michigan State.
And also coming in at number 3, Wichita State. They've been looking pretty good since their loss to Notre Dame.
Yeah, once they get McDuffie back and healthy, they'll be rolling.
They're a scary team. Like, I definitely didn't think that loss to Notre Dame, that didn't say anything about how good they are. They are a legit team. Um, they only lost by 1 point to a now struggling Notre Dame team that's trying to find their way. They're trying to find their way back after losing to Ball State. But, Wichita State is this year's Gonzaga. I believe that they have a strong chance of getting to the Final Four. Just beat Oklahoma State. They beat number 16 Baylor. I'm high on the Shockers.
Yeah, I don't like that people say that they're this year's Gonzaga because they're on a different coast altogether. They're in a higher pedigree conference. They've moved their way up from Missouri Valley to the American. They aren't this year's Gonzaga. They're this year's Wichita State, and that's what Greg Marshall does. He gets the best out of his guys year in, year out, and to compare them to a Gonzaga who is still in a, as people call it, a mid-major conference in the West Coast, I don't see Wichita State being a Gonzaga. I see Wichita State being a Wichita State who has earned the right or earned their spot in the American. They've earned essentially the privilege, I guess, or the right to move out of the Missouri Valley and move up in conference, play stiffer competition night in, night out, and they've passed every test. Gonzaga, their conference is, I think, overall softer than what the Missouri Valley was or the American Athletic from top to bottom. So I don't think comparing Wichita State to Gonzaga is a fair comparison to both Gonzaga and the Shockers because they've both carved out their own identity in their respective conference and their respective regions, doing it different ways. And I think each has their own identity that really aren't all that similar.
Jeez, I didn't mean to aggravate you, man.
No, I read it online too.
Yeah, I know.
Like, everybody says that they're this year's Gonzaga, and I don't think it's a fair comparison for either team. So, just to set the record straight, the opinions of Ryan Scarfone are sometimes not shared by myself.
I just said that just to get you going, just to get the Tyler Bennett
first the Balls,
going.
First the Ball family, and then now Wichita State's the new Gonzaga.
Is Wichita State though? All right. Well, Wichita State's got a big game coming up this week. Oklahoma. It's at Wichita State.
Trae Young, Landry Shamet. You don't need to say any more.
Get that popcorn popping right now.
No, it'll go stale. Pop that popcorn on the weekend, whenever the game is, and then pop that popcorn then. Don't do it now, because then it'll go stale.
Nice.
Common sense, right?
Nice.
Common sense.
And on StubHub, 344 tickets available from $21. Let's go.
I thought you were going to say they were from $344, and I was like, that's absurd.
I say we go.
Yeah, okay, yeah, we'll get right on that.
You don't want to go to Wichita, Kansas?
Not really, no.
All right, well.
But any big games that you're keeping an eye on this weekend before we call her a day, Ryan?
I lost all the games that I was going to talk about. Okay, so Butler and Purdue, that looks to be a good one. Mitch, your Spartans are playing Oakland. Big game for them.
Yeah, it'll be tough. Oakland always plays them tough, and they've got a talented team this year. Martez Walker, Kendrick Nunn, Illinois transfer, and it's got a neutral site event in Little Caesars Arena in Detroit. It's part of a 2-game showcase with Detroit Mercy and Michigan playing as well. So high stakes for the Spartans, another big test, and I think they'll pass it, but you can never really count out Oakland, and they always play Michigan State tough, so that'll be one to watch for sure.
Yeah, and then I got Virginia Tech, who is my dark horse in the ACC, playing at number 8 Kentucky. That should be a good one. Big one that I'm high on. Wheeling Jesuit versus number 11 West Virginia. I like Wheeling Jesuit in an upset against West Virginia.
You must be high. You must be high already.
No way.
They'll be lucky to get 40.
Yeah, I could agree to that. And then Indiana, Notre Dame are clashing on Fox, 2:30 p.m. on Saturday. Hopefully Notre Dame can handle Indiana. They just beat Delaware.
Big win. Big win.
Depth issues still prevail. I noticed that I was looking at the box score, and I noticed that not only did a lot of their normal bench players did not play, but their starters literally played like 40 minutes. They played the whole game. Irish fans, just beware of what might come ACC play. You may not like the result. I always say this every week. Hopefully this week, they'll figure out that they need to start playing more guys. They'll start, they're rounding out their non-conference play. They're going to start pushing guys that don't get much playing time in, start getting them a part of the offense before the real tough test comes. And every week they play a lot of their starters. And while their starters are proven, a lot of their bench isn't. So I think they'll be in a rude awakening. It's not a funk. I'm not saying that they're not a good team. Where they're ranked right now at 18 is kind of where I see Notre Dame. I definitely didn't think that they were a top 5 team. Their win against Wichita State was impressive. But they also then got spanked by Sparty and struggled against St. Francis, Brooklyn, that they should not have struggled against. And then they lost to Ball State, who is a good team. They have a chance of winning the MAC. But I'm a little hesitant to where, I don't know how the Irish are going to do in ACC play. So beware.
Yeah, they need that. They need a supporting cast, as most good teams have, and they just don't have it. So it'll be interesting to see how they weather the storm in the ACC.
You got it. Any games that you're looking forward to?
Well, you've got a few different showcases on the weekend. Like obviously, you touched on the Crossroads Classic with Butler, Purdue, Indiana, Notre Dame. You've got the Metro PCS Orange Bowl Classic that's got Oklahoma State versus Florida State, and then Florida versus Clemson. So that'll be a good couple of games. The Hy-Vee Classic in Iowa with Drake, Iowa, Northern Iowa, Iowa State. Like showcases like that are always fun to watch. You get different, get high quality matchups each year, and then you've got Middle Tennessee and Auburn, another chance for a Power 5 win for the Blue Raiders. Texas Arlington versus Texas Rio Grande Valley, a little in-state matchup with Eric Neal and Kevin Hervey versus Nick Dixon. I think it's just a full slate of games on Saturday, with it being finals week and a bit of a lackluster slate Monday through Friday, but Saturday definitely more than makes up for the lack of games during the week.
Oh, absolutely. I'm going to be popping my popcorn right now. I don't care if it gets stale.
You said you're going to see Star Wars on Saturday. You're not even going to watch the basketball.
Oh, what? I'm going to be watching basketball.
Star Wars, those movies are like 8 hours long.
Star Wars starts at like 7 or 8. The game that I'll be watching, Notre Dame, Indiana, is at 2:30.
You're going to miss all the night games, though. That's ridiculous. Star Wars. Star Wars.
Dude,
lost
you don't get it? You don't get it, so I'm not even going to explain to you.
Don't even try.
I'm not even going to explain to you.
My level of care is, but the level that I care for the balls.
The Last Jedi, man.
Is this the last one?
No, this is the second one of the trilogy.
Oh, there's another one to come out? Damn it.
Yep.
I had to hear about this even longer.
Yep.
But we'll save Star Wars talk for another day. Maybe you can make a college basketball Star Wars, whatever they're called, crew or whatever.
Nice.
Who would you have as Chewbacca? I don't know.
Nice. You don't even know.
Nope, I don't even care to know. But on that, positive note, going to wrap up this week. Thanks for tuning in. We will chat with us next week. To all the student athletes, good luck on finals this week. And kill it out there like you do on the court. And we'll chat with you next week. Cheers.
Have a good one.